Hey, what's up, everyone? This is your friend and host back once again, PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a very special Funko Pop haul to share with you today. Been a while since we've done one of these. They released some brand new Funko Pops. Well, they always release new ones, but I could not pass these up. I know I say that every time you hear one of these pop hauls, but this more than ever, I could not pass up. Okay, so I have to give you a little backstory about why I am so obsessed with the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. As you can see, I've got the play sets right here. Treehouse of Horror now came out in the second season of Simpsons. They had their very first Halloween special, and of course, I grew up throughout the 80s and 90s when TV shows, you looked forward every October to their Halloween and Christmas, their holiday episodes. And you would see on sitcoms like Home Improvement, Roseanne, everything you can think of, Cheers, all these different sitcoms would have something to do with the holidays on during those times of year. And I looked forward to those all the time because I love seeing the elaborate decorations in their houses, the costumes, the whatever kind of scary haunted houses they would put together on their shows and so forth. And we don't really see that a whole lot in nowadays shows, at least not the way it was growing up. Simpsons started doing annual Treehouse of Horror where they take random 3 episodes, or they do 3 shows in an episode, condense them into little short stories, almost like a little mini Twilight Zone episode. Funny I mentioned that because they've parodied a lot of the Twilight Zone episodes, but they've found inspiration from everything from comics and movies and TV shows, video games, and if you can think of anything that has been a horror type film, movie, they've probably parodied it in some way, and then they've done parodies on other things as well, not just related to Halloween and horror necessarily. They've done all types of different parodies on their Treehouse of Horror episodes. But now they started doing them every year, and I think it was in '99 they did like an all-day rerun where they were showing all the episodes from the previous years before the new one aired. And I was this was 20 years ago now. I popped in a VHS tape and I recorded the entire day. I think I had to work that day probably. And so I have that VHS tape of 10 years worth of Treehouse of Horror that I've watched it over and over. And I've added to it every year for the next few years following. I would record the new episode and just add it on because you can fit quite a bit of Simpson episodes on one VHS tape. But I would watch this thing all the time. And strangely enough, I grew up watching all types of movies, comedies, horror, everything, action, adventure, so forth, sci-fi, etc. But watching Treehouse of Horror, the first 10 years especially, if you watch any of those Treehouse of Horror episodes, it's so great the way they really parody their core source for what they're parodying, which is movies and shows and so forth, to the point where I'm watching these and some of the movies I didn't see, and it made me want to go see them, or it made me want to rent them. I worked at a video store at that time when I would be watching these over and over, and I was like, I work in a video store, let me go rent some of these classic horror films that they're parodying and watch them, and it made me appreciate them more. Give you a little comparison. In '96, GoldenEye came out, the movie GoldenEye, James Bond. And I was never a James Bond fan. I just didn't grow up watching them. Nobody in my house watched James Bond movies, so I didn't know much about them. And then GoldenEye came out in the theaters, and I didn't go see it, of course, because I knew nothing about James Bond. Then fast forward a year or so, and we get GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, which everyone loves. I played that, so many hours of my life was dedicated to that. And I was playing the game and realized, I've never actually seen the movie. Let me watch the movie. I watched the movie after playing the game and defeating the game and doing everything you can do in that game. And I was amazed at how well they took inspiration from the movie to make the video game. And when you watch the video game and movie side by side, it's almost like you're watching two of the same, because they really did a great job of emulating everything from the scenes to the characters to everything. And so that's kind of where I have to segue back over to Treehouse of Horror, where I see how they've done a really good job, especially in those early episodes of the Treehouse of Horror, where you could literally say, like, okay, I just watched The Shining from the episode The Shinning, or whatever it was called, where Homer, no TV, no beer, make Homer go crazy. You know, it's like, yeah, you just saw The Shining in a little like 12-minute clip or 10-minute clip, however long they actually make those episodes sometimes. And so that's why I really was like in just. I've always been such a fan of Treehouse of Horror because of the way the early creators and writers were able to make that just awesome. We're here to talk about Treehouse of Horror Funko Pops. They released Treehouse of Horror Funko Pops. Okay, so about what, 2 months ago now? It's been over a month now. We had the Kang and Kodos 2-pack Simpsons Treehouse of Horror that was released, part of the summer convention pops, and it looks amazing. These guys are just incredibly detailed. I love it. By the way, just FYI, anyone out there that also picked one of these up, if you go to my buddy Sean's company called Display Geek, you can get a pop protector that will fit this exact pop. They're available on their website. They're only like $8, and it covers the entire pop, keeps it well protected. I just ordered one myself. It's on its way here now, so I can't wait to get that and keep this nicely protected. But yeah, if you have this 2-pack and you've been wanting to keep it protected, go to DisplayGeek.com and you'll be able to get a pop protector that will fit that. So I want to let you know that. Now, what are we looking at today? We are looking at the newly released Funko Pops, based on, of course, Treehouse of Horror characters. Now, I was unable to go to a store to find most of these. The only store in the area that had them, when I went there, they had 2 of them left, multiples of the same one, but they only had 2 of the different characters. And all the boxes were banged up and beat up. So people either, when they stocked them, weren't careful, or the customers going in and out were, tossing them around, didn't, put any care in keeping them neat. So I ordered these online. I don't usually order things online, as you all know, but I have to say I'm very impressed here. I ordered these from Hot Topic. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, I shared a picture a couple weeks ago. I got my Becky Lynch Amazon exclusive Funko Pop, and whenever it arrived, it was in a box with no wrapping paper, no bubble wrap, no packing paper materials, nothing. They just tossed it in a box, and that was it. It did get a couple of dings around the box itself, but overall it's still, okay, I guess. But the packing was horrible. I'm very impressed with Hot Topic here. Here's the box. Okay, I mean, it looks like it got knocked around a little bit in shipping, but, I mean, that's going to happen. But when we open up the box, we see we have 4 individual boxes here. We got some packing material on the top here, and then all my, shipping invoices at the top there. But they're individually boxed, which is very impressive, and they've got packing material around them too. So let me go ahead and get these out of the box. I don't have a whole lot of room right here, so I'm going to do this that way. So here's the 4 that came in one box, and then there was a 5th one available in the series that I wasn't able to get at the same time, so I had to order that one separately, so I have the 5th one here. But let's go ahead and open them all up, show you what they look like, in case you have not seen these yet. And you can see here's the SKU for them, and it'll say right here, Homer Kong is one of them, and then all of them have that on there, so you know exactly which pop is going to be inside these. So, in no order at all, we've got King Homer, and this is from Treehouse of Horror number 3, so the 3rd series, or the, I guess, 4th season, but the 3rd annual Treehouse of Horror. And this is from the same episode that has the doll comes alive, the Krusty the Clown doll, and then Homer, of course, is on the island as the giant ape, also, King Kong, obviously. And then the final part of that episode is the one where Bart has the ability, he can do anything he wants if people don't do what he wants them to do. So he can, that's the one he turns Homer into the Jack-in-the-Box, which I think they should make a pop out of. Yes. So we have Homer, King Homer, and he's holding Marge in his hand here. Let's zoom, you can zoom in there a little better. So you can see there's Marge in his hand. Okay, so this is number 822, and the box is in really good condition. It arrived in great condition, I think. So I was very happy with that. Very impressed with Hot Topic's packing. Okay, check out the next one here. Okay, so this is from Treehouse of Horror number 13. So season 14. And this is Panther Marge. And this is from the Dr. Hibbert's Island of Moreau. What do they actually call it? So yeah, there was a movie, came out a couple times actually. They've remade it, called the Island of the Dr. Monroe, something like that. And it's titled actually the Island of Dr. Hibbert, where he invites people to visit the island like it's a resort, and then he ends up turning them into different animals and creatures and whatnot. So Marge gets turned into a panther. So yeah, check her out there. All right, this is one of my favorite episodes. We have Fly Boy Bart, obviously inspired by the classic. Well, obviously inspired by the classic one. Everyone probably knows about the Jeff Goldblum, the Fly film in the 80s, but go back to, 1943, I think? Don't quote me on the year, but go back to the late 30s, early 40s, when Universal was making all their different monster movies, and you had the original Fly, and here we see Flyboy Bart, complete with the bag of sugar in his hand, and he even has some drool. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera here or not. That little clear thing, that's some drool. Yeah, there you go. You can see on the side coming out to eat the sugar. That one was from Treehouse of Horror number 8, so the ninth season. And this is a couple of good moments in that whole show. So the segment with the Fly part gets the idea. Okay, so Homer goes to a yard sale and he buys a machine that it's a matter transferring machine, something like that. And Homer buys it, and he puts it in two different places in the house to do different things. So he puts it at the top of the stairs so he can just go through the one machine and he'll show up at the next machine on the top of the stairs. He's like, I don't have to go through the stairs anymore, even though he comes out on fire. Later on, Bart watches the cat and dog, Snowball and the cat. I forget the names of them, but Santa's Little Helper and Snowball 2. There you go. They roll into one of the machines, and when they come out, the dog comes out, or actually, the two butts come out connected, and the two heads come out connected, so they get spliced that way. Then Bart sees a fly land on his hand or something, and he gets the idea of, if I go in there with a fly, I'll get the ability to be strong, and I can fly and whatnot. Well, he goes through the thing. When he comes out, the fly is the head, and the body is on... The fly's head is on Bart's body, and then Bart's head is on the fly's body. Yeah. But there's another part of that show. It's called the Omega Man. I believe that's the one where Homer goes to look for a bomb shelter, because it starts off with how somebody insulted the French, and Homer's looking for, buying a bomb shelter because the French may drop a bomb, and they end up doing that. I love how comic book man's walking down the street eating a burrito, reading a comic. He sees the missile coming, and he's like, ooh, I've wasted my life. So yeah, Homer comes out of the bomb shelter after the bomb had dropped, even though he didn't buy it, he was looking at it. And when he comes out, he realizes everyone's dead, and you see the skin eaters is what they're called, something like that. But it's a great episode. I love all those from that show. Oh yeah, because the last one is Easy Bake Coven. That's right. And that's the one where it's kind of like the Salem witch trial, and you have Marge like this, like here. She's the witch. You find out. Spoiler alert. And yeah, I just love that episode. All right, next up. Aha. This one is number 823, Alien Maggie. She's got the tentacles similar to Kang and Kodos, as you can see there. Kang and Kodos, okay, they've got their tentacles and such. Now, there's an episode on, which one is this one? Treehouse of Horror number 9, so the 10th season. And the segment for this one is Maggie has her pacifier in her mouth, and she starts suckling it in a certain pattern, and it sends a radio wave up to outer space, and it lets King and Kodos know, ha ha, there she is, it's time to go meet my daughter. And you're like, oh no, Maggie's actually his daughter. And turns out that Marge got abducted by the aliens at one point, and they inseminated her by ray gun, even though they do a parody of where it's like, you can choose to do it behind a porno theater, the back seat of this Camaro, or something like that. Yeah, and they just shoot her with a ray gun and it impregnates her, and then they end up on the Jerry Springer show. But yeah, she at the beginning of the episode, her legs pop off, Maggie's, and then all the tentacles come out, and Homer's like, oh, "Look, Marge, Maggie lost her baby legs." Oh God, I love these. Okay, now this one here, it took me a little bit of searching to understand what this one is from. The last one here is Demon Lisa, and this one I didn't know anything about. I saw it and I was like, I know all these by heart because I've seen these episodes many, many times. All right, apologies for the interruption. Little PCJ is napping right next to me, so he just woke up and started stirring for a minute. All right, so Demon Lisa. I didn't know anything about this version of Lisa because it just didn't ring a bell, but did some Google searching, and turns out there was an episode in Treehouse of Horror 28. So just 2 years ago, it says that there's in the episode, Maggie gets possessed by a demon. Lisa discovers a creepy / perfect version of her family in an alternate universe, and Homer cannibalizes himself. Now that I remember that part where Homer, he chops off a part of, like, I think he chops his pinky off, and he ends up accidentally grilling it, and then he eats it, and he's like, and then he just starts eating eating the rest of his body. So, Demon Lisa. Okay, so it's basically just, I mean, to me, when I saw this as part of the series, I was like, did Lisa just dress up like a devil for, Halloween, and she went trick-or-treating like this? So at least it's based on a actual version of her from the show. But again, these are all from the first 10 years or so, or 13 years or so of Treehouse of Horror, whereas this one is much, much later. So good in the sense that they didn't just stick with the earlier ones, and then people that have only maybe watched the last 5 or 6 years would be like, I don't know these episodes. These are before I was alive or whatever. So that's good and all, but yeah, it took me a little bit to figure it out. So in case you didn't know, that's where this one came from. But yeah, so as you see here, we got, let's put them in order. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So there we go. So I think they look awesome. I've got a few of these in Mr. Mini form from previous unboxings. I've got an alien Maggie figure. And then you can see here, as part of the playsets that you saw in the background from different Treehouse of Horror playsets, they've got a King Homer. So we got a King Homer figure here. Okay, similar to the one you see in the Pop version. This one didn't come with a little doll version of Marge to hold on to. That would have been nice. We do have back here we got Flyboy Bart, but nowhere does it have the detail that the Pop does. I think they went a little extra detail on the Pops, especially on the Flyboy Bart and the King Homer. And even the alien Maggie with all the little things that her tentacles are holding. But I think they really did a great job with the detail on Homer and Bart. And I'm just stoked. I love Simpsons TREEHOUSE of Horror. And I hope they make more, because they've got a wide variety of different characters and variations on the characters to work with, from the Shining episode, from the episode where Homer gets Snake's wig or his hair transplanted. The monkey's paw episode. There's when Flanders becomes a werewolf. I mean, it's just endless amounts. You got Vampire Burns, by the way, that's coming out as a New York City Comic Con exclusive, and they just announced also they're going to have this one as well. You have Willie, the custodian. He's going to be the Freddy Krueger. I don't know, I forget what they called him in the show, but you have that, and then these two. Yeah, so these two are going to be coming out soon. New York City Comic Con exclusives. I don't know if they're going to be shared yet in stores, and if they are, I need to find whichever way I can to get them, or maybe somebody that can get them can help me out, because I can't miss out on those two. I gotta have them. So yeah, and there's so many other ones. I mean, hello, the episode where Homer becomes a donut. How about the episode with the ironic punishment where Homer he sells his soul for a donut, and he has to, or that's from the same episode, I should say, but let's see one of him where he's strapped to the chair getting force fed the donuts. We've got Flanders as the devil, Comic Book Man where he's the collector. You've got Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl, Bart and Lisa. You've got Bart's evil twin, and then you start thinking of all these other different parodies they've done in previous shows, and there's just so much to work with. So yeah, as you can see, I'm very excited. I love these. These are freaking awesome, and I'm so stoked I was able to get the full set. This is the only set available right now, so you can see here on the back. Here's the whole set, okay, of all the characters. So we got them right here on the table for you to look at. And then, like I mentioned, these two are coming soon at the New York Comic Con. And I wish I could go. Wish I could get my hands on them as Pops. Hopefully I'll be able to. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, thanks so much as always for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Again, apologies for the little interruptions. I'm sure you can hear little PCJ kicking back there. So it's time for me to wrap this up and see what he needs. So thanks again for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Remember to give me that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed before, please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate that. And I'll talk to y'all later. This is PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, signing out.